And you have to start to grasp, while you'll have people in your life that will be there to support you and be there to help you, no one is going to come save you. What's shaking? Welcome back to All In. I'm your host, Rick Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about how to live life on your own terms, meaning not let a lot of other things affect you and how to keep moving forward. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited for this today. And before we dive into this, please share this out with at least 3 people. Start to think about those 3 people now who could hear this and need to hear this in order to just get over whatever hump they're at right now. Okay, because there's going to be some hard-hitting truths today and just some things that are also going to just cause you to just fill up with the desire to break through. All right, so now that we're diving into that and you've already thought of 3 people to share this with, these are really like 7 things that I took down, okay, on how to live life on your own terms. And some of these things are more like understanding, items of understanding, and others are actual like, hey, here's things to do or not do. So the number 1 is really that one of those items of understanding. And you have to start to grasp, while you'll have people in your life that will be there to support you and be there to help you, no one is going to come save you. Because ultimately, where you're going and what you're going to do, what you're going to be, what you're going to accomplish, what you're going to create, ultimately lies on you. It's almost like life is kind of like a checkerboard, okay? So you might have something, if it's the universe or life or whatever that moves a piece, guess what? It's your turn. You can't keep playing the game. You can't keep going towards what you want, trying to king that checker piece, unless you actually start making the moves. So when life makes a move, it's just sitting here and being like, cool, now your move. I laid something before you right now, and now you get to choose whether you want to respond to that, whether you want to do something about it, and which direction you want to go. No one is going to come save you. No one's going to sit in your chair and move that checker piece for you. It's up to you. It's just a piece of understanding. Number 2, and this one's a big one, is you're going to have hard times. You're going to have challenges while you're figuring out what your moves are. Okay? But every challenge, hard time, and pain you endure will turn into strength, resilience, and blessings. Did you catch that? Because as you go through these challenges, these hard times, and you come out with learnings, you will endure these things. And it's almost, not quite like battle scars, but you're able to have an understanding and a maturity about you from the situations that you've gone through in your life. Think back 10 years. I know that I have a ton of learnings myself from when my dad died, from my first job at McDonald's, from a bunch of different things that I've done in life, from getting fired, laid off from a job. There's so many learnings that I have from mistakes that I've made that created hard times. Like I made mistakes and it created hard times and some pain. Yes, but all those turned into me being able to figure out how to move past those, which means that, hey, you know what? I'm actually strong. I endured it, which means I'm actually resilient. And because of those things, now I can reap the blessings in my life because of how I've righted my ship, or because of how I've dealt with these things that some of them may not have even been in my control, but they were thrust upon me, and it's how I responded to them is what made me strong and resilient to achieve those blessings in my life. Number 3, this is more of like an understanding, okay? Another one of those understandings on how to live life on your own terms. Don't expect people, you ready for this? Don't expect people to be honest who lie to themselves. And this kind of has to do with like circles around you on how to live life on your own terms and who has access to you, who you should let in those circles, who will keep you held back because they want to stay in their comfort zone and they want to be comfortable with you staying in the same place you are. They're lying to themselves because they're in that safe place of suffering. So you can't expect people to give you good opinions when really those are just going to be lies and not applicable to your life, because those are just lies they've created in their lives, and they're lying to themselves right now. You can't expect people to be honest when they're lying to themselves. Number 4 is you don't owe anyone an explanation or justification, especially when you decide to cut people out of your life. Those people that we were talking about in number 3. Or you start to distance yourself from them, maybe even temporarily, because you're doing what's best for you. And that's okay. There's this thing that we have in human society that's, we have to have closure on things, and it's this somewhat of a longing desire. But I'm going to tell you right now that closure is actually designed to keep you stuck. You might never get closure, but you can still have healing. Did you hear me? You might never have closure, but you can still have healing. And that's because of the choices that you made, and you do not have to explain those. You do not have to justify those to anyone. This will be the toughest with family, with close family, maybe with parents, maybe with siblings. It'll be the toughest there, because as you start to grow, the people that are closest to you are the ones that are going to nag at you the most. This is something that I've learned in my life too, is that the people that are closest to you, they've just known you the longest. They're familiar with where you're at right now, and they won't understand. So even if it's just temporary to where you start to distance yourself from those people, it's okay. You don't owe anyone an explanation or justification for your choices. And this number 5 here goes along with this, is that don't argue with them, because sometimes, because of their traumas, they actually want to misunderstand you. Like they have a filter up there. So don't argue with people who want to misunderstand you. This is just a red flag to say that if that's that person, that you absolutely need to distance yourself from them. Starve them with silence. It's okay. Don't engage, because it's only going to bring you down and trigger you. That's the whole reason for distancing yourself from that person in the first place, because they have this thing and they like being stuck in their cycles, in their traumas, and they want to misunderstand you because they just want to sit in their crap. It's okay to not argue with people who want to misunderstand you. That's how you know that it's time to distance yourself from those people. Number 6, I love this one. Because all of this, even when it comes to, like I was talking, like family and whatever, those people that are closest to you, that'll be the ones that will be the hardest on you when you start to grow, is life is just way too short just to live for the weekends. Life is just way too short just to live for the weekends. There's so much more to life and more fulfillments every single day of the week. And what I'm getting by this is your purpose can be linked into your job. It can be linked into your career. It can be linked into your business. It can be linked into your dreams and your visions. And those don't take days off. There's this concept of integration that I talked about way long time ago, like in episode 2 or 3, on how life and work and family and everything is just all one. There's not time set aside for that stuff. Even if you're punching a clock in a manufacturing plant, you still don't just live for the weekends, because the choices that you make at your job affect your family. The choices you make at home affect what you do at your job. Whether you're even fulfilled at your job can be affected by choices with your family at home. There is no real weekend as far as taking breaks and separating stuff. And I'm not saying taking some time off or getting off the grid for a minute or whatever, just moving yourself away just for an hour or two in the middle of the day for a clarity break. That's awesome. I'm talking about this segregation between your purpose and your job and your family, or your separation or segregation between Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Your purpose does not know weekends. Your joy and happiness doesn't have to just be on the weekends. You need to be joyous and happiness. You deserve to be joyous and happiness every single freaking day of the week. So if you put your purpose on hold to say, I'm only going to touch this on the weekends, I'm only going to start my side hustle on the weekends, because maybe someday, How about maybe today? Number 7, you don't need to make big announcements when you start this stuff either. You don't need to tell people, hey, I'm going to distance you from you for a little bit or temporarily. You don't need to tell people that you're starting a side hustle, because remember I was talking about those circles of people that are the closest to you are the ones that are going to be the hardest on you. You don't have to make a big announcement saying, I'm doing this now, because you were just kind of asking for that pushback in that moment. You can quietly work on your dreams until it becomes too big for everyone else to ignore. I wish I had known this a couple years ago and understood this concept, because now it's pretty hard to ignore what I've done and what I've accomplished. It's pretty evident now at this point. But I'm telling you, when I started a few years ago and really started trying to go big and impacting a lot of people in a positive way, I got a lot of pushback. And the reason I got a lot of pushback is because I told them what I was going to do. Don't put yourself through that strife. It's a lot easier to just let them see for themselves, and then they can become more accepting of it. And I feel that then they can actually come along with you a little easier, those people that are closest around you. Because there's a secret about that, right? Even those people that are closest around you that you need to maybe distance yourself from right now, they actually probably do care about you. That's very likely. I mean, just look at the history that you have with those individuals. And I'm not saying that there might be some that just need to go away and they were only there for a season. I talked about that just recently in a previous episode about friends are here for a season, right? But I'm talking about those that you might need to temporarily just say, hey, in your mind, I got stuff to accomplish. I got stuff I want to get done. I have dreams that I want to see become reality in my life. And that can be just between you and you when you start to quietly work on them until you become too big to ignore. And then they'll be like, oh my goodness, this is awesome, because the people that are hardest on you in the beginning, that's saying, oh, you'll never do that. Why are you doing that? Whatever. Those are also the same people that at the end that'll be saying, oh, I always knew you could. Oh, I never doubted you for 1 minute. Obviously it's BS. But it's just because they couldn't comprehend, because they like being in that place to where you were familiar with them and what you did was familiar and comfortable for them, because it didn't put a mirror in front of them and almost had to make them face their traumas or their own shortcomings in their lives. So you don't need to make these big announcements. My friends, this is how to live life on your own terms, and just some tips for you today to start to go after everything you've ever wanted in your life and see it become reality. Go get it.